Hello, welcome to SoulSchool. I'm Theolyn, and I want to talk to you about the Shefa Method. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the Shefa Method is the most important thing that I can teach you. It's a meditation system. It's not unlike some other meditation systems you can come across, but it does have some unique elements to it. The main purpose of a meditation technique is to change your state of consciousness, to move your mind into an expanded awareness. And when you do that, you get access to different levels of your consciousness. So your everyday consciousness is bombarded most of the time with sensory impressions from the outside world. So you can imagine that you're like a little boat on the ocean, and the wind and the rain or the sunshine, whatever the weather, you will be affected by it, or you will experience it as something in your psyche. However, there is a deep, deep part of you where there is a place of stillness and silence. And you probably already know that that is a really important place to be able to access. Lots of meditations and guided journeys are encouraging you to get to the place of stillness. But then there's always the question, how do you do that? You close your eyes, you might have a breathing technique, that's very, very helpful. But sometimes the monkey mind, as they call it in Buddhism, comes chattering away, and then all the outside senses, the doorbell, somebody's child, perhaps your own, is calling, perhaps there's a pet meowing or barking. All kinds of things can interrupt that lovely quietness that you're trying to achieve. So what can you do to keep your attention going deeper? That's the question. Now, in the Indian tradition, the yogic tradition, people use a mantra. So basically, a mantra is a sacred word chosen for its vibration and the qualities that it can bring into your consciousness. So it's carefully chosen. A mantra is Sanskrit, and it can be chosen for you by a teacher of meditation. In the Shefa Method, we use a word for the same purpose to repeat inside our mind, but this time it's chosen from Hebrew. And instead of calling it a mantra, because that's a Sanskrit word, I call it a zira. And the word zira in Hebrew means a seed. So when we repeat this word in our mind, we are planting a little seed deep in our state of consciousness. So again, the words that we can use as a zira are carefully chosen. Again, for their sense of vibration as well as what they mean. So when people come and learn the Shefa Method with me, I teach them a zira, a Hebrew phrase, a word with several syllables. And I give the same zira to everybody, especially when they're a beginner. And what happens when you use this sound shape, it will take you to a very deep level. You keep repeating it, and it allows the monkey mind to take a break, and it allows your deep level consciousness a bigger opportunity to widen its awareness and its space. You get this sense of being very spacious inside you. Now, it is true that a Sanskrit mantra and a Hebrew zira will produce the same kind of results. That's the point. The reason that I've chosen to work with Hebrew is because I've had a long experience working with angels and archangels, and they come from that tradition. And the other reason is more profound in a way. It's because we can work with Sanskrit or Hebrew on the basis that they are very ancient languages that are based on what we call primordial sounds. What is a primordial sound? Well, it's a sound that's natural to the universe. Perhaps the most obvious and famous sound would be shh. That is a sound which can be found in nature all around us. So that's a primordial sound, and it occurs in both Sanskrit and it occurs in Hebrew and many other languages, of course. But those two ancient sacred languages have for many thousands of years been used by mystical seekers to access deeper levels of consciousness. So we know that we are following that thread, that ancient thread of the mystical traditions. And in this case, with the Shefa Method, the tradition that we're tapping into is the Jewish mystical tradition called Kabbalah. Now, the way in which the Shefa Method offers you something unique is because once you've learned how to get into that very deep space, you then introduce into your mind some concepts, and they're based on visual images. If you go to the article in the website, you will see some of these visual images. They're called characters because they come from an alphabet. And each one represents some particular concept. I often say it's a bit like a logo. If you see a bright yellow M on a red background, you know that's McDonald's. It's a logo. So when you work with the Shefa characters, you look at different shapes and you know what they mean. There's one called Shin, which is deep peace. As I say, hunt through the website, look at the article by the Shefa Method, and you will see an example of one of these characters. So bringing those into your meditation is a very powerful thing to do, because when you embed it into a deep level of your awareness, you then initiate a kind of subtle change in you. And because it's a character or a logo, it's very simple to do. And it's not like you have to remember a great affirmation. You just bring that visual image into your consciousness and drop it in to place. So it's like a code. And then when you come out of your meditation, you just get on with your daily life. And part of you is carrying that around with you. And obviously, every time you meditate, you can work with a different character. Once you learned how to do the meditation, which takes 3 weeks, then in the Shefa Method, you get introduced to 4 of those characters. And then if you want to learn more, you can follow through a course called Shefa Expansion, and you can learn the whole series of 22 characters. So this is how Shefa Method differs from other kinds of meditation systems. Find out more about it. Email me if you want to learn more and want to talk to me about following on this with learning the Shefa Method. You can do it as a self-study course, or you can do it with me, holding your hand as your mentor. I look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, many blessings.